Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins Collections, where we uncover the hidden value of coins that you might not realize are sitting right in front of you. Today, we're diving into the world of the iconic 1971 Lincoln penny, a coin that you might have seen countless times in your spare change or coin jars. But what if I told you this humble penny could be worth a small fortune? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at how much the 1971 Lincoln penny is worth, especially if you have one with a rare mint mark. Let's start with a little background about the Lincoln penny. First minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin quickly became a symbol of American currency. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny features the profile of the 16th President of the United States on the obverse side and the famous Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Over the years, this penny has undergone several changes in design, but it remains one of the most widely circulated coins in U.S. history. Now, let's jump ahead to 1971, a year that marks an important milestone in the history of the Lincoln penny. 1971 was a significant year because it was the first time the U.S. government produced pennies with the Lincoln Memorial design in the new copper-plated zinc composition. Prior to that, pennies were made with a heavier, solid copper composition, but by 1971, the cost of copper was rising, and the U.S. Mint had to adapt. This change in metal composition is what makes the 1971 penny so interesting, especially for collectors who are on the lookout for rarities. While most of the 1971 pennies were made using the standard copper-plated zinc, there's one specific version of the coin that has caught the attention of collectors, and that's the 1971 Lincoln penny with a rare mint mark. You see, while the U.S. Mint typically produces coins in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, it's the mint mark that gives us clues about the coin's origin. Most 1971 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, but some were struck at the Denver Mint, and even fewer at the San Francisco Mint. So, what's the big deal about these mint marks? Well, it turns out that the 1971 Lincoln penny with a specific mint mark is incredibly rare, and depending on the condition of the coin, it could be worth a lot of money. But why is the mint mark so important? Let's take a closer look. The most sought-after version of the 1971 Lincoln penny is the one with the D mint mark, which means it was struck at the Denver Mint. This penny is considered rare because the Denver Mint produced fewer coins in certain years, making the ones that were minted harder to find. Add to that the fact that the minting process in the early 70s wasn't always perfect, and you'll see why collectors love to hunt for 1971 pennies with unique characteristics or errors. Speaking of errors, if your 1971 penny has an unusual flaw or minting mistake, it could be even more valuable. Error coins are always in demand among collectors, and a 1971 penny with an error could fetch a price that's far beyond its face value. Errors can include things like double strikes, off-center impressions, or even coins with missing elements in the design. If you've got a 1971 penny with any of these unusual features, you might be holding on to a rare treasure. Now, let's get to the really exciting part. How much is a 1971 Lincoln penny worth today? In general, a regular 1971 penny made of copper-plated zinc is worth very little, usually just 1 cent. But the rare 1971 penny with a D mint mark, particularly one in excellent condition, can be worth much more. The value of these coins can vary greatly depending on their condition, but in perfect or near-perfect condition, a 1971 penny could be worth a considerable sum. In fact, if you happen to have a pristine 1971 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, or one with an error, it could be worth up to $42,000. Yes, that's right, $42,000 for a single penny. When you think about it, it's incredible that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could hold such value. But it's the rarity, the history, and the unique features that make certain coins worth so much. If you've got a 1971 penny that's been well preserved or has a minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And even if you don't have a pristine version, don't be discouraged. Collectors are always looking for pennies in decent condition, and a slightly worn 1971 Lincoln penny could still bring in a significant amount of money. How can you check if your 1971 Lincoln penny might be worth more than its face value? The first step is to examine the mint mark. If there's a D under the date, you've got a Denver minted coin, and that's a good sign that it could be a rare find. Then, take a good look at the condition of the coin. Coins that are graded as uncirculated, or MS65, or higher are the ones that fetch the highest prices, while coins with wear and tear are worth much less. If you're unsure about the condition or potential value of your coin, it's always a good idea to have it professionally graded by a coin grading service.so. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, the 1971 Lincoln penny is a coin worth keeping an eye on. Its rarity, potential for errors, and the chance to own a piece of U.S. history make it a highly desirable coin for collectors around the world. If you happen to find one in your collection or while searching through change, take the time to examine it carefully. You could be holding on to something much more valuable than you think. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of the 1972 Lincoln penny, and you'll be amazed at just how much this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln penny has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1909, when it was first minted to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, features a portrait of President Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Over the years, this little coin has become one of the most well-known and widely circulated in U.S. history. Now, let's fast forward to 1972. This year is an interesting one in the world of Lincoln pennies because of a number of factors that make the 1972 penny so special. During the early 70s, the U.S. Mint was producing large quantities of pennies due to the high demand for circulating coins. However, what sets the 1972 Lincoln penny apart from the others is the presence of certain rare characteristics that collectors are on the lookout for. One of the key features that collectors value is the mint mark. For most coins minted in the 1970s, you'll see either a D or a S mint mark, indicating whether the coin was produced at the Denver or San Francisco Mint. But the story doesn't stop there. A lesser-known but significant detail about the 1972 penny involves a peculiar error in the minting process, a double die error that makes certain 1972 pennies extremely valuable. Now, what exactly is a double die error? This is a minting flaw that occurs when the coin is struck multiple times by the die, causing a doubling effect on the features of the coin, especially in the date and inscriptions. If you happen to find a 1972 penny with this error, you've found something rare. The double die error makes the date on the coin appear to have a doubled or even tripled effect. If you closely examine a 1972 penny with this error, you'll notice that the 7 and 2 in the year appear to have a shadow or duplication. This error occurred when the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly during the minting process, creating a blurry, doubled image. So, why does this matter? Double die errors are extremely rare, and they are highly prized by coin collectors. These types of errors can increase the value of a coin exponentially, and a 1972 Lincoln penny with this kind of flaw could be worth far more than you might think. In fact, the value of these coins depends largely on their condition, and those in pristine, uncirculated condition can command impressive prices. Another thing that adds to the rarity of the 1972 Lincoln penny is its overall condition. As with any coin, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that have been in circulation for decades often show signs of wear, like scratches or discoloration. But the 1972 Lincoln penny that's still in excellent condition, without signs of wear, becomes much more valuable. A well-preserved 1972 penny, especially one with the double die error, is something that collectors will pay top dollar for. And here's the kicker: if you have one of these rare, double die 1972 Lincoln pennies in mint condition, you could be looking at a value that is shockingly high. While the regular 1972 Lincoln penny is worth only 1 cent, the double die error version can fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. If your coin is in mint state, it could be worth $40,000. Yes, you heard that right, $40,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent could end up being worth such a large sum. But that's the magic of rare coins and mint errors. They hold hidden value that only true collectors understand. So, how do you know if your 1972 penny is one of these rare double die error coins? First, take a close look at the date. The key areas to check are the 7 and 2 in the year. If you notice any shadowing, doubling, or a ghost image, that's a sign you may have a double die penny. Another good indicator is the overall condition of the coin. If your penny looks well preserved and almost like new, it could be worth more than you ever expected. If you think you've found one of these valuable 1972 Lincoln pennies, the next step is to get it professionally graded. Grading determines the coin's condition, which is crucial to its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher grades meaning better condition and higher value. A coin in perfect condition can fetch much more than one that has been heavily circulated, so it's worth having it evaluated by a professional grading service. So, there you have it. A 1972 Lincoln penny might just be the hidden treasure you didn't realize you had. If it's a double die error penny in mint condition, you could be holding a coin worth an incredible $40,000. That's right, $40,000 for a single penny. It's truly remarkable how rare minting errors and well-preserved coins can increase in value over time. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that you might just have lying around in your pocket or stored away in a jar, the 1973 Lincoln penny. But before you dismiss it as just another penny, let me tell you, this coin has the potential to be worth way more than you think. Stick around until the end of the video, and I'll reveal just how much a single 1973 Lincoln penny could be worth today. Let's start with a bit of background. The Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic coins in the United States, and it has been in circulation since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny originally featured a bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Over the years, the design has seen a few changes, but the essence of the coin has remained the same. By 1973, the Lincoln Memorial design was firmly in place, and millions of pennies were being minted each year. But the 1973 Lincoln penny isn't just another run-of-the-mill coin. There's something special about this particular year, and it has to do with its rarity and condition. You see, while most 1973 pennies may appear to be standard copper-plated zinc, some of them have unique characteristics that make them extremely valuable, especially to collectors who know what to look for. The first thing that can affect the value of your 1973 penny is the mint mark. As with most coins, the mint mark indicates where the coin was struck. For the 1973 Lincoln penny, you'll find two possible mint marks, the D for the Denver Mint and the S for the San Francisco Mint. The vast majority of 1973 pennies were struck in Denver, but the real value lies in the rarer S mint mark coins, which were produced in smaller quantities. While the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies in 1973, the San Francisco Mint produced far fewer, making those with the S mint mark much rarer and much more valuable. Now, here's where things get even more exciting. Even among the San Francisco mint-marked coins, there are some pennies with rare minting errors that can cause their value to skyrocket. One of the most coveted errors that collectors look for in the 1973 penny is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice by the die, causing the design to appear doubled. The most noticeable area for this error is the date. If you see a doubling effect on the 7 and 3 in 1973, you might be holding on to a true treasure. Double die errors are among the most sought-after types of errors in the world of numismatics. This is because they are extremely rare and can drastically increase the value of a coin. If you find a 1973 Lincoln penny with a double die error, you've found something that could fetch thousands of dollars at auction. It's not just about finding the error, it's about finding the coin in excellent condition. As we know, coins that are well preserved and in near mint or mint condition are always worth more than coins that have been heavily circulated. A 1973 penny that's in pristine condition, with sharp details and no noticeable wear, can be worth a lot more than a penny that's been through years of handling. A penny in perfect condition is much rarer than you might think, as most pennies from 1973 were used in daily transactions, and they show signs of wear after being in circulation for decades. But let's take a closer look at how much these 1973 Lincoln pennies can actually be worth. The typical 1973 penny, whether it has a D or S mint mark, is worth only its face value of 1 cent. However, when we factor in the rarity of certain mint marks, the possibility of a double die error, and the condition of the coin, the value increases significantly. A well-preserved 1973 penny, particularly one with the sought-after S mint mark or a rare error, can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And now for the most exciting part, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to have one of those rare 1973 Lincoln pennies in exceptional condition, especially with the S mint mark or a double die error, you could be holding a coin worth a jaw-dropping $44,000. Yes, that's right, $44,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent could now be worth so much. But that's the beauty of rare coins and mint errors. They are worth far more than their face value. Now, you might be wondering how to tell if you've got one of these valuable 1973 pennies in your possession. The first thing to do is check the mint mark. If you see a small S under the year, you've already got a coin that's rarer than most. Next, examine the date closely. If there's any sign of doubling in the numbers 7 or 3, you might be looking at a double die error penny. Finally, take a good look at the overall condition of the coin. If your 1973 penny is free from scratches, discoloration, or other damage, it's likely to be worth more than a well-worn penny. If you think you've found one of these valuable 1973 Lincoln pennies, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Professional grading will help determine the coin's condition and ensure that it's accurately evaluated for its value. A higher grade means a higher price, so it's well worth getting your coin graded if you believe it's rare. So, the next time you come across a 1973 Lincoln penny in your collection or while searching through your change, remember that it could be worth a small fortune. Whether it's the rare S mint mark, a double die error, or just a well-preserved coin, your 1973 Lincoln penny could be a hidden treasure worth up to $44,000. Today, we're going to talk about something that might be sitting in your pocket right now, or perhaps tucked away in a drawer, and you might not even know just how valuable it is. We're diving into the world of the 1974 Lincoln penny. At first glance, this may seem like just another ordinary penny, but believe it or not, there's a hidden treasure within the 1974 series that could be worth thousands of dollars. Before we get to the big reveal, let's take a moment to appreciate the history of the Lincoln penny. Since its debut in 1909, the Lincoln penny has been an essential part of American currency. Created by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner, this iconic coin features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of American unity. But while the Lincoln penny has remained largely the same for decades, certain years and mint marks have turned out to be far more valuable than others, and 1974 is one of those years. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies in the early 1970s to keep up with the country's growing demand for coins. But what makes the 1974 penny stand out? Well, there's more to it than meets the eye. For one, the 1974 penny is notable for being part of a transitional period in U.S. coinage. The U.S. Mint was phasing out the use of silver in coins and moving toward copper-plated zinc. While most pennies from this period were minted using the new copper-plated zinc composition, some 1974 pennies were struck with errors that have made them extremely valuable today. The first thing you'll want to check when evaluating a 1974 Lincoln penny is the mint mark. As you may know, coins minted at different U.S. mint facilities are marked with a letter to indicate where they were made. The two main mint marks you'll find on 1974 pennies are D for Denver and S for San Francisco. Denver minted the bulk of these pennies, but the San Francisco Mint produced a smaller number, making the S mint mark coins significantly rarer. But the real magic of the 1974 penny comes from certain rare minting errors that could have been made during the production process. One of the most valuable errors you can find on a 1974 penny is the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck multiple times by the die, causing certain parts of the design to appear doubled. The date on the coin is where this error is most noticeable. If you have a 1974 penny where the 7 and 4 in the year are doubled, that's a sign you may have a double die error penny, and that can make all the difference in its value. But don't just focus on the date. Look at the overall quality of the coin. Coins that have been heavily circulated, like most pennies, can lose their shine and detail over time, making them less valuable. However, a well-preserved 1974 penny that has been kept in mint condition could make a huge difference in its worth. A coin with sharp details, without any wear or discoloration, is much more desirable to collectors. Another thing that adds value to these coins is their overall rarity. As the years go by, more and more of the 1974 pennies that were once in circulation have been lost, damaged, or melted down. The pennies that remain, particularly those with mint errors or in exceptional condition, are becoming increasingly harder to find, making them more valuable on the collector's market. Now, let's talk numbers. You may be wondering just how much a 1974 Lincoln penny could be worth. After all, most pennies are worth just 1 cent, so how can one of them be worth a fortune? Well, if you happen to have a 1974 penny with a double die error or one that's in perfect condition, you could be holding on to a coin worth much more than its face value. As with any rare coin, the value can vary depending on factors like condition, rarity, and demand. But if your 1974 penny checks all the boxes, a double die error, a low mintage, and excellent condition, you could find yourself with a coin worth up to $48,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $48,000 for a single penny. That's a lot of money for a coin that originally only cost 1 cent. But that's what makes rare coins like this so exciting. So, how can you determine if you have one of these valuable 1974 pennies? The first thing you'll want to do is closely examine the date on the coin. Look for any signs of doubling, especially in the numbers 7 and 4. If you notice a shadow or a second impression of the digits, you may have a double die error penny. Next, check the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. If it has an S mint mark, that could make it even rarer. Finally, assess the condition of the coin. If it's in great shape and shows little to no wear, it could be worth significantly more than just a few pennies. If you believe you've found a rare 1974 Lincoln penny, the next step is to have it professionally graded by a coin grading service. The professional grade will help determine its true value based on its condition, and this can make a huge difference when it comes to selling or auctioning the coin. In conclusion, the 1974 Lincoln penny is a coin that deserves a second look. With its potential for rare mint errors, low mintage, and high collector demand, it's one of those coins that can turn up in the most unexpected places and be worth a small fortune. If you have a 1974 penny with a double die error or one that's in mint condition, it could be worth a stunning $48,000. That's right, $48,000 for a single penny. Today, we're diving into something that might just be hiding in your pockets or coin jars, the 1975 Lincoln penny. You may have seen this coin countless times, but did you know it could be worth a fortune? You might be holding on to a rare treasure without even realizing it. Stick with me until the end of this video, and I'll reveal just how much a single 1975 penny could be worth today. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Let's start by taking a look at the history behind the 1975 Lincoln penny. This coin is part of the larger series of Lincoln pennies that have been circulating since 1909. In fact, the Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic and widely collected coins in the world. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It's a symbol of American history and pride. However, the 1975 Lincoln penny has something special about it. By the mid-1970s, the U.S. Mint had been producing large quantities of pennies to keep up with demand, and 1975 was no exception. But what makes this coin particularly interesting is that it comes from a time when there was a shift in the U.S. economy and coin production. The U.S. Mint was beginning to move away from using silver and other precious metals for coinage, and by the 1970s, copper-plated zinc became the dominant material for pennies. But here's where it gets interesting. While most 1975 pennies are relatively common, there are certain varieties and eras that make this coin especially valuable to collectors. The main reason the 1975 Lincoln penny is worth so much has to do with the rarity of minting errors and how well the coin has been preserved over the years. You see, some 1975 pennies have rare features that can drastically increase their value. And we're not just talking about a few extra cents here. These pennies could potentially be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about mint marks. Mint marks are small letters on coins that indicate where they were made. For the 1975 Lincoln penny, you'll find two possible mint marks, the D for Denver and the S for San Francisco. The Denver Mint produced the vast majority of 1975 pennies, but the San Francisco Mint struck fewer of them, making the ones with the S Mint mark significantly rarer. So if you come across a 1975 penny with the S Mint mark, it already has more value than its more common Denver counterpart. But the value doesn't stop there. There's even more to look out for. One of the most sought-after features for collectors is the famous double die error. This error happens when the coin is struck twice by the same die, resulting in a slight doubling effect on certain parts of the design. In the case of the 1975 Lincoln penny, the most noticeable place for this error is on the date. If you look closely and see that the 7 or 5 in 1975 appears to be doubled, you could have a valuable double die penny on your hands. This kind of minting error is highly coveted by collectors, and it can significantly boost the coin's value. But it's not just the double die error that makes the 1975 Lincoln penny valuable. The overall condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. Coins that are in excellent or near mint condition are always more valuable than those that are worn or damaged. A penny that has been preserved in great shape, without significant scratches or discoloration, is much rarer than one that has been through years of circulation. The value of a coin increases dramatically when it has sharp, clear details and no visible signs of wear. And now, you're probably wondering, how much could a 1975 Lincoln penny actually be worth? Well, the typical 1975 penny is worth its face value of 1 cent, but that's not the case for rare varieties or era coins. A 1975 penny in average condition will only be worth a few cents, but a well-preserved 1975 penny with an S Mint mark or a double die error can fetch much more. The price can vary depending on the coin's condition and rarity, but if you're lucky enough to have a 1975 Lincoln penny in pristine condition or one with a double die error, you could be looking at a value of $54,000. Yes, that's $54,000 for a single penny. Imagine finding a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent, and now it could be worth more than most people's annual salary. It's hard to believe, but that's the reality for rare coins like the 1975 Lincoln penny. So how can you tell if you have one of these valuable pennies? The first step is to examine the mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. If you see an S, that's a great start, as it indicates a rarer coin than the D mint mark. Then take a close look at the date. If you see any doubling in the numbers 7 or 5, you could be holding a double die error penny, which is highly sought after by collectors. Finally, check the overall condition of the coin. If it's in pristine shape, with little to no wear, it could be worth far more than just a few cents. If you think you've found a rare 1975 Lincoln penny, it's always a good idea to get it professionally graded. Coin grading helps determine the condition of a coin, and it can make a big difference in how much it's worth. A coin with a high grade can fetch a much higher price than one with a lower grade, even if the coin itself is rare. So, to sum it all up, the 1975 Lincoln penny may seem like an ordinary coin, but it has the potential to be a hidden treasure. Whether it's the rarer S Mint mark, a double die error, or just an exceptional condition coin, a 1975 penny could be worth a small fortune. If you have one of these pennies in your collection, don't overlook it. It could be worth as much as $54,000. Today's video is definitely for you. We're diving into the world of the 1976 Lincoln penny, a coin that may seem like just another penny at first glance, but it has a fascinating backstory and, believe it or not, can be worth a small fortune. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know how much a 1976 Lincoln penny could actually be worth today. Now, let's take a step back in time. The 1976 Lincoln penny comes from a significant year in American history. Not only was it a time when the U.S. was celebrating its bicentennial, marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, but it was also a time when the U.S. Mint was continuing its efforts to meet the growing demand for coins. During the 1970s, the U.S. Mint was striking billions of pennies every year to keep up with the currency needs of the country, and the 1976 penny is one of those coins. But while most of these pennies may not stand out in the crowd, there are certain ones from this year that are highly coveted by collectors. The first thing to note about the 1976 penny is the composition. By this time, the U.S. Mint had transitioned from using solid copper to a copper-plated zinc alloy. This change was due to rising copper prices, and it meant that coins like the 1976 penny were lighter and cheaper to produce. But what makes the 1976 penny interesting isn't just its metal composition, it's what makes certain ones from that year stand out. One of the most important aspects to consider when evaluating the 1976 penny is the mint mark. The mint mark on a coin tells you where it was produced. For the 1976 penny, you'll find 3 possible mint marks: D for the Denver Mint, S for the San Francisco Mint, and no mint mark at all, indicating the Philadelphia Mint. While most people are familiar with the D mint mark, what many collectors don't know is that the 1976 penny struck at the San Francisco Mint is much rarer than its Denver counterpart, and it can be worth significantly more. But rarity isn't the only factor at play here. The real value of the 1976 Lincoln penny comes from certain error coins that were struck that year. Minting errors are a key factor that drives coin values, and some of these errors can cause a coin to be worth much more than its face value. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1976 penny with a minting error, it could be a highly valuable find. One of the most common errors found in the 1976 penny series is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the same die, causing certain elements of the design to appear doubled. In the case of the 1976 penny, you'll most likely notice this doubling on the date, where the 7 and 6 in 1976 appear to be doubled. A double die error on the 1976 penny can significantly increase its value, especially if the error is clearly visible and the coin is in great condition. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is struck slightly off-center, resulting in a portion of the design being missing or misaligned. While this might seem like a small issue, off-center strike coins are often considered desirable by collectors, especially if they are rare and well-preserved. But even beyond errors, the overall condition of the 1976 penny can greatly impact its value. Like most coins, pennies that have been heavily circulated and show signs of wear are less valuable than those that have been kept in pristine condition. The 1976 penny was produced in large quantities, so finding one in excellent shape can be quite rare. Coins with sharp, clear details, and no visible signs of wear or damage are always in demand, and they can be worth significantly more than their counterparts with visible scratches, stains, or fading. Now, here's the most exciting part: how much could a 1976 Lincoln penny be worth? Most of the pennies from that year are worth only their face value, just 1 cent, but if you happen to have a 1976 penny with an error or in mint condition, you could be looking at a much higher value. And if you have one with a rare double die error or an off-center strike, you could see it worth thousands of dollars. In fact, depending on the rarity of the error and the coin's condition, a 1976 penny could be worth up to $59,000. That's right, $59,000 for a single penny. Imagine finding a coin that only cost 1 cent when it was first minted and now it could be worth a small fortune. That's the incredible potential of rare coins like the 1976 Lincoln penny. If you're fortunate enough to come across one of these rare error coins, it could change your life. So, how do you know if you have a valuable 1976 penny? The first thing to check is the mint mark. If it has an S mint mark, it's already rarer than the average penny. Next, carefully inspect the date and other design elements for any signs of doubling or misalignment. A double die error is easy to spot if the doubling is clear, so be sure to take a close look. Finally, check the overall condition of the coin. If it looks well preserved with no major scratches or signs of wear, it could be worth far more than its face value. If you think you have a rare 1976 penny, the best next step is to have it professionally graded. A professional grading service can assess the condition of the coin and give it a grade, which will help determine its true market value. Coins with a higher grade generally sell for more money, so having your coin graded can make a significant difference in the value. In conclusion, the 1976 Lincoln penny is more than just a coin you might find in your pocket. With its potential for rare minting errors, especially the coveted double die and off-center strike varieties, this coin has the potential to be worth a lot more than just a few cents. If you have a 1976 penny with one of these rare features, or if it's in mint condition, it could be worth up to $59,000. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future coin discoveries. You never know, you might just be holding on to a rare treasure. Happy coin hunting!